Deadguy Ale. This is one of my favorite style of decks. Deadguy Ale refers to an archetype that is a white-black aggressive mid-range deck with disruptive elements. So staples in Deadguy Ale are usually a bunch of 1-mana discard spells and other things like Glint-Sleeve Siphoner that can generate card advantage. Things I'm trying today for the first time. So I've got some Ajani, Adversary of Tyrants, as well as Gideon of the Trials here in the main deck. Gideon is a tool that you can use against the Tainted Pact decks with his emblem. And then I'm kind of just trying to figure out what I want as card advantage at the top end of the curve in this archetype. And Ajani is a card that provides pressure with our existing creatures. It has an emblem that usually wins the game against control, and it can generate card advantage by down-ticking and returning our various 2-mana creatures from our graveyard to play. One decision I have notably made for this 75 is I am not playing copies of Reidane. It's very possible that I still want 2 to 3 copies of her in the 75, because there are a number of decks that she's reasonable against. Like, maybe I don't want, I've got a third copies of Ajani and Gideon here on the board and like third copy of Thalia. Maybe we cut 2 of these and fit some Reidanes in there. We'll see if we feel like we miss her throughout the set. Let's dive on into some games, huh? Veto doesn't really sound particularly good. Like, we just don't have any incidental life gain, so it's basically just like textless if we don't have something like Revival. And getting to 6 mana isn't something we do all the time. The name Deadguy Ale come from? It's an old, Google it. Google it. Let's just say Google it. Yeah, it's fine. Need some lands for on the draw. We get to have, even if we miss on a land, we have plenty of castable spells. And then there was Gandalf. So you just take the Doomscar, right? Because it plays with the board. But I got a little bit of sweetness in their Gandalf deck, splashing Nicol Bolas and Esper. It's cute. So the way to think about Glint-Sleeve Siphoner is she basically draws a card every other turn. So she makes an energy, and then she draws a card every time you have 2 energy. Miragus, thanks for the half a year. Welcome back. Rankle isn't good because it's not exactly card advantage. Well, Rankle does something different, right? So, like, Rankle provides tempo and is closing power. So, like, Rankle's a 4-drop that I've tried. Gonti's a 4-drop that I tried. I haven't played Ajani Adversary of Tyrants yet before today, so still trying to get a feel for what I want the top end of this deck to do. And I don't think they realized we have Menace. Nail McCarthy, thanks for the Prime support. Appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. I think we just take Thassa's intervention. For sure. Soren's okay. I think his uptick isn't quite good enough, and his lack of an ultimate is kind of sad. For the 40 months, Talran. It's a long time. Welcome back. Alright, well, they have the mana to play Dragon God.
Once again, your existence is pointless.
Yeah, Kaya. I would love to play Kaya Ghost Assassin as the top end of this deck.
Return.
He'd be sweet. Unfortunately, our lack of lands here probably means we're dead. Thank you, lovely wife. Didn't draw any lands, and then we drew a bunch of cards that are bad here. Inquisition, take a little info on the way out the door, but then I'm gonna concede here. Oh! I guess this could kill this next turn. We'll see. If we can kill this, we'll take another turn. We like this to be a blank and this to be a blank. Because this does have menace, so it skates past the castle. Also, can we talk about the greed of having Castle Ardenvale in your 4-color Nicol Bolas deck? Dragon God seems like a sweet splash in their archetype, though, because, like, both Mardu and Jeskai Triomes give you the extra color, which is gas. And they've unfortunately hidden their counterspell here. Feels bad, man.
You'll wipe your bloodline from existence.
Can we just update the MPL command to have a link to my YouTube video for today? There's a 30-minute reaction video where we talked about the MPL announcement. If this is a blank, Ajani could drag us into this game. Ajani is very good with Blinkmoth too. Yep. We get to get back Glint-Sleeve here, which is going to give us an energy, puts us up to 2. Thank you, Kuntz. Appreciate you.
Prepare to defend yourself. Now it's my turn.
Strength is born of struggle.
Practiced against many foes like you. With thoughtfulness before action.
I think we could realistically see Arcbound Ravager or Cranial Plating as the last card. feels like they want to push artifacts matters with this set, with this historic anthology, and either of those cards could be good additions. I don't think we'll get both of those, but I think like one of those two. I don't think Hangerback Walker's on the same level of payoff. No, I believe we have to wait till Monday. Someone linked, which is sad. I'm really impressed with the Ajani here, by the way. Cat came in and did exactly what I wanted him to do. Keeping us in this game nicely.
Trust me, you'll thank me later. Time is much more malleable than people think.
Okay. So if they have to kill the cat here, then they have to chump block with this other angel.
Next time, I'll be ready.
What if we ship this into Teferi? Like, forces an angel off the table? I guess I could attack with Blinkmoth too and make them choose. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to attack with Blinkmoth too and make them choose. We get rid of Narset here, so they have a less chance to find a sweeper.
Hurry. I suppose that's how it was meant to happen.
What do I name with this? Yeah, I feel like it's Narset or Teferi, huh? It's Narset or Teferi. Well, they're not going to cast Shark Typhoon. Naming Shark Typhoon is awful. They've got, like, Nicol Bolas's and Teferi's. So, like, I feel like they're more likely to have more Narsets than more Teferi's, but it's a gamble either way. Yeah, their deck's pretty greedy for sure. That's true. Their deck's probably really good against all of the other people playing various control decks on the ladder. Control's pretty popular. My name is Matt. Thanks for the prime. Welcome to the channel. We are at a point where they can activate both castles in a turn. We're not playing around Settle the Wreckage. It's just not a card we can beat, so we're just not even gonna worry about it. Eliminate. Yep. I don't know as insane of the rest of the country, but I did have both Andrewed and Matt bought houses where in the town where I live in the last like 6 months. And I believe they both put in over asking. They just double bottomed, so that's good for us. Well, unfortunately, they double bottom, but then we drew 2 bricks, so yikes. I can only double bottom so many times here. It's unfortunate we haven't drawn any of our castles. Like, we have 2 white castles in our deck. We drew one of our Blinkmoth Nexuses at least. That was pretty good. The condo builders next door to me just canceled all of their contracts and raised their units 100 to 150k. Good lord. Are we gonna see a second housing bubble burst in my lifetime? It feels like that's gotta be the direction we're heading in, right? My name is Matt. Thanks for the prime, by the way. Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for the follow, Pooza. I'm banking on buying one after the aftermath. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Damn it, chat. We were talking about houses, and I just assumed my opponent was going to make a thing and block. Damn it. I'm gonna blame chat on that one. That's unfortunate. I feel like I played this game really well up until that. Up until that, not paying attention. Yeah, and this is where the issue snowballs, right? So they had the Heartless Act last turn, and if I had been paying attention, they would have been forced to Heartless Act this, and then I'd get to draw another card this turn because of the energy. Yeah, honestly, I'm just gonna concede the match. I don't really want to play anymore. I'm gonna find a different match to play. I don't feel like playing from behind because we misclicked when I wasn't paying attention. So, I don't really care about our record. If we get to Mythic today or not, it doesn't matter. But it's a really unfortunate end to a otherwise interesting set. It's nobody in chat's fault. It just, like, happens. That's why, like, the specific records with decks don't really matter because of stuff like that, right? Like, that whole game just goes very different if they're forced to kill my other thing, and then I get to draw an extra card, and I don't know. That's impressive. Ajani, like, I gained information that was valuable to the deck in that matchup. Like, I don't know how I feel about Gideon in general, but, like, Ajani was super impressive. Now, this will be our last Magic deck of the day. My plan is to do 2-3 Magic decks every day, Master. And to play Magic till about 1 o'clock Central, usually. And be taking it easy with the split schedule until the next historic anthology drops. We're at that hype is low point of the part of the cycle. I've never even heard of that game, Patronizing Porpoise. Sure. Alright, so Ketria Triome concede after Brainstorm. They're probably some kind of combo deck, right? I'm gonna board in a Duress and an extra Thalia. Yeah, I assume they missed their land drop there. I assume they kept one land Brainstorm and then bricked on the second land. Could be a Phoenix deck. I don't know that the Phoenix decks usually play too many Triomes. Usually they want untapped lands. There be Dragon Storms. Thanks for the bits, Yummy. I'd be happy to get a Dragon Storm built into the cube for when that drops on the 27th. We're going to 5, champ. Wow, they are a spells deck, huh? How did our sideboarding change for this matchup? We bring in some removal that I don't have in my deck currently. Hey, thanks for the 19 months, Ferrex. They're bluffing shit. Something like that, Rhino. Yeah, Sprite Dragon's gonna be a tough nut to crack here. Pretty big. I'm definitely trading with the 1/1 if they offer it. I don't think we're just done yet. We could draw like White Source into Apparition and be okay here. Or Apparition into White Source. Sometimes magic happens. You know, you mulligan to 5 and then miss on the colors that you need. Bring in a bunch of Fatal Pushes here and Heartless Acts. I don't know if this is a Rest in Peace matchup necessarily. Maybe Gideon's actually okay here. Ajani's definitely not what we're looking for. Gideon could be okay. Bubbling their Durko actually seems fine. We trim some of the discard spells. Is Gideon better than Spellbinder? Gideon might be better than Spellbinder, actually. He's like a removal spell that also attacks them once we deal with their board. Silverquill just like dies to a bunch of their different burn spells. I'll cut those. Captain Wasabi, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this afternoon. Yeah, we reviewed HA5 stuff. It'll be up on YouTube in its own video this evening, as always. Yep, no problem, man. We just take their shock, huh? And we like curve Thalia into Spellbinder. Drake's like potentially a little bit scary, but Josh is gonna make sure it doesn't come down for a little bit. It's a nice card to have on curve here too, so we get to go. Knight Spellbinder next turn. I guess with Brainstorm they can hide the Crackling Drake. Make one of their removal spells expensive here. You can hear a 30-minute breakdown of my thoughts on what happened with Magic's MPL on my YouTube channel. And a good long discussion about it yesterday. So this is Crackling Drake, or this is Crackling Drake. Do I jam the Spellbinder right away? Or do I just, like, assume they don't have an untapped land to try and guarantee I can take it? But, like, if this is Drake, I'll miss being able to take it. But, like, if this is, you know, Drake untapped land, I'm not going to be able to take it anyways. I just put my threat into play. Alright, dragon, yeah. So there's a thing on top of their deck. Can we take the dragon here? It just keeps them off of being able to play threat next turn. But this is Crackles. Okay, so they're holding up mana to kill something. I think I need to keep this alive, right? Okay, so now, do I want to smack them with this, or do I want to put Thalia into play? I think I just want to pump this up. Like, try and get them to a life total that forces not great blocks. Because then next turn, I can Thalia plus pump, which is nice, or like Blinkmoth plus pump. If I draw untapped land, I can double pump and force them to jump block this. Yeah, nice. That's perfect. Elite Spellbinder is so good. The 21's Mori. Welcome back. Tempo and Spellbinder was so instrumental here. Got him. Yeah, Knight of the Ebon Legion is a real good Magic card. Do this now, get my auto path in, so they're forced to block, so. Let's put them to 2, and I've still got my dorks. Dragon Storm is such a great card to add to the format. It's gonna be real good. I don't know if that's strictly true, Tim. So, like, Dragon Storm's actually just castable in longer games, too. It has a little bit less of a deck building requirement. So, you could probably play it inside of Ultimatum, but there's other ways to do it, too. Usually it's not a case of being strictly better, strictly worse. Yeah, I agree, James. The direction that they took white cards in Strixhaven was very, very good. Burning Tree Emissary at Tarka's command is an oldie but a goodie for sure. Hopefully this is a matchup where Skyclave has text. Gearhulk cannot cast Dragonstorm. Dragonstorm is a sorcery. You get Mizzix Mastery in the Dragonstorm though. This would have been the literal best draw in our deck next turn. And this turn, it's not so great. I think I'm just pumping this. Feels like there's a good chance we get, like, Memory Lapsed or something here if I cast a spell, and I'd rather just get my damage in and get this out of Stomp Shock range or whatever. Open on this and see what we get. Yeah, so the read on Memory Lapse was good. Dunk. Listen, chat. This Knight of the Ebon Legion is going the distance. He's going ball speed. He's all alone in this time of need. He's racing and pacing and plotting the course. It's a heck of a one-drop, chat. It's a heck of a one-drop. Games like that are why I quit playing Flash. Yeah, people can definitely get under you. Duress is good here. It's also worth noting that, like, my opponent's build of Flash is obviously incredibly greedy. They're playing, if you looked at their hand, they had a bunch of copies of the 6-mana counterspell in it still. The Sublime Epiphany, which is definitely not a card that Archetype should be playing anymore. I want to just drag my curve down, have more cheap things that play to the board. Want to be able to kill Wolfpack on demand. A Grasp is probably good for that reason. I leave a couple of Skyclaves in. What replaced Sublime? If you check out my website, look at the... you always played Torrential Gearhulk. Magma Opus is the thing you bring back with Torrential Gearhulk now. Hello, oldest son. How you doing?
My book was Allie, like the quicker one.
It was the quickest one?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Imagine
Do you know it's Friday?
that guy.
That's Liliana.
That guy made that guy, right?
The Liliana made the zombies? I think you're right. How do you know that?
Because, because we're young, and someone, had men, like some,
Liliana does make zombies, you're right.
yeah.
You're pretty sharp.
That guy you make.
This was the best draw in our deck because shocking this in with this means that this gets a counter, which is pretty great.
That is a zombie.
This is a zombie.
Whoa, that guy that killed that guy. Thanks, so right?
I think so.
Oh my god.
You can have both. Have fun. Wow, we're getting counters on both of these? Holy crap. I was expecting to get memory lapse here. Wow, we're gonna get out of the flame sweep range. So this puts 2 counters on these, and then they're no longer flame sweepable. I think we take Warrant, huh? This puts my thing back on top of my deck. Yeah. Yeah, I think they're dead. Knight of the Ebon Legion, chat. Probably the best 1-drop in Historic. It's real good. Alright, chat. Bubble match. We're not even halfway through the month and we might be mythic already. It's a little weird. It's a little weird. This is what happens. We played rogues and we played black-white auras, chat, and we ranked up too much with them. Grixis control did a good bit too, to be fair. Grixis climbed us a full rung as well. We can always throw. That's true. Less pressure if we throw. You played good decks, the climb was rigged. Why did you open your door? You're extra loud. Your child came in and opened my door and didn't close it behind himself. Let me yell for him. Close my door. Thank you. This matchup's probably really bad. The Jund Sack deck really preys on small creature decks like what we're playing. She also messaged me on Discord, but I didn't see it, so I didn't have Discord up. Listen, we put my office in the basement intentionally so we could have 2 floors in between me and the sleeping children. So Gideon Bubble does prevent Mayhem double pings, but it's like a really small window, right? They can still like sack during my upkeep before I can reactivate the Gideon. So it's usually not super helpful to be doing that. Good draw. So we'll go Inquisition, Skyclave the Devil. Well, yeah, they get to sack the cat here and draw a card Betrayal. And this is the other part, right? Like why this matchup's so polarizing for small creature decks like what we're playing. Because like the cat bouncing in and out means I can just never race them while they drain us out. In addition to like Claim the Firstborn and stuff being so good against us. Pretty decent.
Should be proud. You are capable of more than you assume.
Okay, it's enough to trigger Knight at least. Drew a land to play a blocker. No point in doing that because they have Goose. I think I want to play Gideon rather than pump the Knight. Could be wrong though.
Show me what you can do. Now it's my turn.
I don't really think there's a point in embleming Gideon. I think I'd rather have him higher loyalty, so he's harder to kill when they're pressuring, if they try and pressure back. I believe Kaya's ghost form reads enchant creature you control, so it falls off when they claim the Firstborn. Huh? We're pretty close to lethal, huh? Yeah, the fact that they haven't had ovens been huge here for sure. What do I even take here? I think we take their 3 or 4 mana card, right? I think it's Woe Strider, right? Because that gives them the least amount of freedom. It makes their average card cost the most. Yeah, Woe Strider's 2 blockers. And like now, they need to, now if they don't draw a land, they can't Woe Strider and make a food.
I must revisit my training.
Or they're through 3 Mayhem Devils. Alright, so you're dead. Okay, so Thalia's not very good. Honestly, both of the Planeswalkers felt kind of okay there. Definitely a Heartless Act matchup. Vanishing Verse could come in here. It's a Fatal Push matchup. Is Vanishing Verse good enough, actually? I guess it exiles Cat in some opportunities, but not often. I guess it gets rid of Woe Strider, and it takes what's it called off the table? No, we covered HA5 already, Stark. Maybe this isn't good enough to bring in the third copy. Rest in Peace isn't all that great here. I guess it stops Cat. Cat's pretty annoying. Cat's pretty good against us. Would I rather get rid of Gideon or Ajani? I think I'd rather get rid of Gideon. Ajani, like, adds a lot of power to the board every turn. Although his -2 doesn't work with the Rest in Peace, but his ultimate could be real here as well. I feel like Ajani's ultimate could be real. This is like soft removal for Mayhem Devil, though. How is Jund compared to Rakdos for Devil decks? The Jund deck is more grindy and mid-rangey. I mean, like, discard spell into Silverquill Silencer is pretty good. Yeah, we Silverquill a Braid. Which does mean they just get to play Woe Strider this turn, but it's whatever. One Vanishing Verse, please. We tried any Stormish decks in Historic. No, they're not particularly competitive, Volpert. The lack of things like Moxen and Rituals to cast things out for free means that the Storm mechanic's not really busted in this format. Not taking Trail is kind of bold. Instead of being vague and nondescript like a typical member of Twitch chat, can you explain why you think taking Trail of Crumbs is better? As opposed to taking the Mayhem Devil that pairs with their sacrifice outlets to kill my things? Please and thank you. I welcome you being critical of my play, but do so in a way that's constructive and specific. Next time you'll get a 10-minute timeout. Getting a little punished for not playing Rest in Peace sooner since they drew the cap, but it is what it is. Deal. Well, if they don't have an untapped land here, this is actually really good for us because it means that they can't. Well, you know, this is fine. The Rest in Peace will force them to bring the cap back and draw, which means I can Thoughtseize whatever they get, which is nice. Graveyard. We'll see if we have to hammer our life total to play second Thoughtseize here or not. Yep, looks like we do. Hey, J Riot, thanks for extending your sub. I appreciate the support. Welcome back. Second Rest in Peace, not looking great here. First one is good though. Well, so the 3 damage from it isn't necessarily exceptional in this particular matchup conscript, but against things like Gruul and other aggressive decks in the format, Abraid's upside's a lot higher than Wilt's upside. Yeah, White Castle fight. One of the things I found really early in testing with this archetype was that White Castle was consistently better than Black Castle, because I don't really have a good way to consistently gain life in this deck. Going on, kid. Well, I have 5 mana Fog the Wellspring, so that's nice. Better view of the dancing in the background. It's pretty great. Binding the Old Gods is probably one of their better draws here, so we'll name that. They haven't played any copies of that yet. I probably have 4 of those in post-board or close to it. So 23 months, Mageologists. Yeah, they're already through 2 Mayhem Devils, so I think Binding's a card they haven't played that could be good here. Do we attack with the Glint-Sleeve? No, I don't really want to trade my Glint-Sleeve for the Woestrider. If I draw a Vanishing Verse or a Heartless Act, I can deal with the Woestrider and then start attacking and generate card advantage. I don't think that's a good trade for me. I'm gonna leave the 1/1 back here just in case they have a removal spell. I don't want to take 5 to the dome from this Wellspring. The Menace on this card is just so good. This and Witch just do so much because they have Menace. They make combat so much easier to get into. Push damage. They draw Binding and Second Abrade. Feels bad, man. I mean, we have a lot of lands, but our lands do stuff. Why didn't they do one of those last turn? I don't know. I guess we were kind of at a holding pattern. And like my removal spell forced their removal spell effectively. Well. Scary to a degree. Alright, stop me if you've heard this one before. I block with my 1/1. Wow, and then I actually have enough mana here to play Ebon Legion and Selectivate Castle. This has been like a really good set, highlighting kind of the ins and outs and sequencing decisions you have in this archetype. Been super, super impressive. Flame is gonna hurt. I mean, I have a castle activation. Oh yeah, if they didn't draw that, it just couldn't attack. Hey, one more brick for me. So they can't attack or they die? Mythic Gamer, chat. Mythic Gamer. Yeah, I think they missed that I could take a hit and then kill them in the backswing, so I'd only been attacking with one. Nice. Sweet. See, chat, you can play whatever you want in this format and climb on up. And you play sweet decks like what we're playing. Made it to the MPL. Yeah, to be fair, like, we made the same play like 5 turns in a row, so. Something needs a ban. Discard spell into Silencer is a good 1-2 punch. Aura's Hiss. And they're... Oh, wow. Okay, where? Okay, shoot. Huh. Huh. Blue-white auras is something. I think we take the Spirit Dancer. It's actually really good. This is not an enters play trigger. This is a replacement effect as the creature enters the battlefield. So it is not stopped by things like Hushbringer. Come on, put your All That Glitters on the Hushbringer. So we can start Gideon bubbling that out. Thank you. I don't know that we're winning this game, but like, we're not just dead yet. I imagine this matchup is hard for us. We don't have things that like bounce their stuff, and they have like things like Selfless Savior to protect their dorks. It's a phrase I use to describe Silverquill's text. It is a replacement effect as the card enters the battlefield.
You full of surprises.
Yeah, feels like we're dead here. Like, Duress is gonna get to come down and recover Core Spirit Dancer from the bin next turn. I don't really have a removal spell in sight. I suppose if they don't have Kaya's Ghost form, our copies of Exile Target Monocolored Creature are probably very good here. We have 3 of those post-board.
Waiting for this.
Oh, rude. Not that we're going to be able to attack with this anyways, but still. We're too far behind here on this one. Not an Ajani matchup. Gideon seems reasonable. Fatal Push, Heartless Act, Noxious Grasp, Vanishing Verse, just like all Doomblades on deck here, I think. We have Skyclave Apparition, too. This probably isn't that terrible. I think we board out the Thalias. They have a lot of cheap spells, but we're also boarding in a ton of cheap spells ourselves, so it's like not really the axis we want to be fighting on, I don't think. We want to cut Thoughtseize? Like, their deck isn't that threat dense. And, like, they probably have some counter spells post-board. I guess we prefer things that play to the board. I don't really want to cut any more of my threats, huh? Maybe it is just Thoughtseize. We're boarding in a bunch of Doomblades. Is Gideon good enough? Maybe Gideon's not good enough because they can attack him down. I'm gonna leave a couple of Thoughtseize over the Gideons. Running a rock deck, I have 2 slots, or 2 Chevelle for card advantage, disruption of the ground. He's been underperforming. Would you recommend Glint-Sleeve Siphoner? I think Glint-Sleeve Siphoner is a good 2-mana card advantage type card, Darnia, but you can't play just 2 of them. You need to play 4. Because you want them to be able to utilize the energy that the first one made if the first one dies and you draw a second. So I think this is like the best 2-mana card advantage generator in the format. But I also don't think you can afford to play just one of them. Or just 2 of them. If that makes sense. I take their Life's Bounty here because it protects from my exile removal. I'm not really worried about the lifelink. We're likely not going to be in racing situations in this matchup particularly often. The real Crypt Keeper, if you're still here, thanks for the follow. Sorry, I missed that one. Afternoon, I try harder. Unfortunately, not finding any of those plethora of removal spells we boarded in here. And all that glitters with this. So I'm gonna get to draw with Siphoner next turn, which is nice. Get the attack with just the 3/3 and the 2/2. I'm gonna try to trade with the 3/3. Attack with just this. We'll take 2. Oh, these do have first strike, you're right. Thank you. Skyclave Apparition, exile target monocolored thing, just like anything. Come on now. Sick. Okay, so now we could even let them untap. Do we let them untap, or is that greedy? So I could get more enchantments out of it if I let them untap. They have first strike, it's not offering a trade. Don't feel bad, I missed it last turn too. Yeah, the icon's kind of small too. It's this little sword thing mean first strike. The Silencer is naming all that glitters. I could mouse over it. It does not appear to let me mouse over it. Yeah, it's the punish. Maybe I'm supposed to lead Heartless Act. I don't know, like, how am I winning? Wait, what? Hey, deal. I don't know that I'm like winning a game where we like, yeah, it's just don't ask. Shh. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, chap. We'd have been fine. And they can trade these for either of these. Like, they don't even have Luris in hand yet, so. I wonder if our opponent had something in real life come up. Or taking a while here. And then this means I get to draw another card next turn. We got 2 shots and a piece of removal here that probably wins the game on the spot if we find it. Skyclaves, Vanishing Verses, Fatal Pushes, Noxious Grasp. A lot of good ones. And then with 2 Glint-Sleeves here, we get to draw 2 cards a turn for the rest of the game, which is great. Actually, be worse than Curious Obsession, given the current state of the board. Is it worth waiting on Lurrus to Inquisition? Nah, I really didn't want them to be able to deploy another threat next turn. This should wrap the game up here nicely. And like, we're drawing 2 cards a turn, chat. So like, there's value in just like using our mana every turn. Eevee is so good. Is Lurrus fair if it costs 8 mana? It's kind of busted at 3. What do we think of Lurrus at 8? I think that's more reasonable. We're just power. Skyclave or Elite Spellbinder is just like power level eroding the Lurrus. It's probably still good, no joke. Probably still good at 8. Why can't one of these Siphoners be a second land? Well, you know. It's for the Follow Chaos. Sick. Okay. Our 5 is now very good. Yeah, our 5 went from fine to very good. And Curious Obsession here. Hey, congrats, Baracoli. First home is exciting. Especially going from an apartment to a house. Big QL upgrade. Alright, any piece of 2 mana removal, please. Or another Fatal Push. Skyclave doesn't do it, it's a Hushbringer. Oh, you know what? I should attack with Silencer there, because if they want to trade, then I can Fatal Push the Hushbringer. Yeah, that was a mistake on my part. Oh, you know what? I put this on white. It totally should have been on black. I had 3 1-mana black cards in my hand. Big punt on my part. Still not in a great spot because they have SRAM here. Unfortunate. There was a whole lot we could do there. That matchup, I bet the black-white version of Auras is hard for us, but that blue version didn't seem particularly bad. We had slightly better, more fortunate with our mulligans. Yeah, if I'd have, well, so I don't even know that playing the land would have mattered there, because I think I would have played Knight of the Ebon Legion, because I think it's right to save the Inquisition for the Lurrus in that position. I think the way my hand was lined up, I needed the Inquisition to take the Lurrus, so I think I should have played the land on black, but playing the land on black doesn't change the outcome of that game. Like I'm not playing around their last card being Kamatra's Blessing when they have Lurrus they can draw still. I think that's the wrong play. Blessing a common card in their archetype. So Blessing and like the dog and stuff are very common in the more all-in blue-white version of Auras. The black base builds of Auras that are more popular and have been more consistent, like I have on my website, are more mid-rangey and interactive as opposed to all-in protecting their things. So the opponent's variation archetype has been, the previous opponents has been around for a little bit, but it's less popular than the black-white build. It is more all in. Yeah, Ghost Form. Ghost Form is a much better way to protect your stuff. Alright, so Thalia keeps them off of Narset next turn, which is nice. Skyclave Apparition in the open here is not great, though. Not a card we really want against control. Glint-Sleeve. Glint-Sleeve's pretty good, though. Glint-Sleeve plus Thalia might force a sweeper on their own. And the second Glint-Sleeve can pick up and make some cards out of the energy. I'm playing untapped land this turn to play around a Censor. Could get Memory Lapse, but don't have anything that lets us play around that, so whatever. Play versus the draw is so huge here, right? Like, just imagine a game where, like, we play Thalia on 2, and then they can't Brainstorm, and then we get to get Glint-Sleeve down before they can Memory Lapse. This is definitely a spell the way this game is lining up. And then I don't think I want to play the second Siphoner out into a Wrath of God next turn, so I'm going to play this tapped. If this had gotten counterspelled or memory lapsed again, we would have played the second one. Okay, the fact that we have Seal away here means that the Sweeper's not coming, so that's nice. Could be getting Tefried this turn, though, which kind of sucks. Gideon's are, the cat's felt really good. Gideon's been kind of meh. I don't know that I'm super sold on Gideon. Thinking about tucking her in. Is her hand all stuff that doesn't play to the board?
You need to take a time out.
Okay, well, we're about to have a real bad time if they have Wrath of God, but we're definitely in the business of making them have it here, so threat, go. If they don't have it, we probably kill the Gideon and we get to draw an extra, or kill the Tefri and we get to draw an extra card next turn. Memory Lapse is frequently more annoying than Counterspell, yes. Okay, and I think we're in garbage time here at this point. Concede. Gideon and Ajani are good. Duress is good. Thalia's good. You want to bring in Noxious Grasp in this matchup because it is a way to kill Teferi. If you can keep their Teferi off the table, usually they have a hard time. Usually they have a hard time keeping up. You get rid of their sustained card advantage. And then ins and outs line up really nice here. Both our planeswalkers should be good here, hopefully. Gideon and Johnny both help insulate us against their sweepers a little bit, which is nice. Honestly, as silly as it sounds, the lack of Blinkmoth Nexus lost us that game too, right? Like, we have, this deck plays 7 utility lands, we have 2 Cycle lands, 2 castles, and 3 Blinkmoth, and like, if we had had Blinkmoth there, their Teferi wouldn't have survived, and we'd have likely easily been in that game still. This was just their mixture of their Planeswalker being uncontested just closes the game out so quickly. Just buries us in a way we can't catch back up from. Ajani's been really good. I'm gonna update the variation on my site to include Ajani for sure. I've been very, very happy with this inclusion. I didn't want to put this one on the site without playing it first because it's a little bit hard to evaluate, but I've been happy with what it does so far. Fills the role I wanted it to fill, which is both applying pressure and allowing you to generate card advantage. Picking your glint sleeves and your knights back up out of the bin is really good. Yeah, Ajani with Blinkmoth is also very good in a matchup like this, which is great. This deck would love Shambling Vent. We would play Shambling Vent over the Cycle lands in a heartbeat. Looking forward to that. Just you, or does it seem like there's a lot less Gearhulk decks? So the Gearhulk decks haven't stayed powerful or popular. Even a lot of the controlling variations that have been going around have moved off of Gearhulk largely. We just take Narset 2 turns in a row here. This deck slam dunk Lily on the Veil. Yeah, almost assuredly. Probably over Gideon. I assume Knight's about to come seal away here. I'd like to draw some running lanes here, would be nice. Definitely greedy on my opponent's part to not just seal away here, because now I just get to choose to not attack, and they can't spend their mana here other than cycling. So, deal. Opponent spewed on some resource efficiency. Now I'm gonna attack and let them seal away. Because I want to play the second one out, and I don't want to get Wrath-a-Goded. I mean, sometimes you keep a 2-lander in your 25-land deck, and you never see a 3rd land. That's how Magic works. Just the way the cookie crumbles. Would have loved to be able to Elite Spellbinder the Shark Typhoon. But alas. This game's almost assuredly done, and I want to play. I want to get in one more decent match with this before we wrap up on Magic for the day. It's been a good set overall, though. Feel like we've highlighted some of the power and flexibility this deck has. The utility lands have been really great in a lot of spots. Correct. Yeah, if you hit Shark Typhoon with Elite Spellbinder, it's just an 8 mana enchantment. Spellbinder is actually one of the best answers to Shark Typhoon in that way. Like, it turns it from this flexible card to this really super clunky one mode card. That's true. We did very cleverly wait until after we had ranked up to Mythic to start getting unlucky, so definitely good variance allotment there. I think we Thoughtseize into second night here, and then we can pump both knights next turn. There's a rank floor at Mythic, right? Well, I mean, you go further down in the percentages as you lose, but you can't get bumped back into Diamond, no? You can't fall out of Mythic until the season ends. How did Blue-White go? We never drew a third land and we died. Wow, no blocks, steal. Wasn't sure if I wanted to trade with Valky or eat Valky. And honestly, if they blocked, it might have been right to trade and just like pump the other one up with the crippling fear lurking in hand here. Weird main deck sweeper. Feels like a strange choice over something like Languish or Ritual Set. Yeah, but almost assuredly playing Release the Winds. Yeah, that's always kind of been the case, Whiskey. I've always definitely been on the side of I don't understand why people think they're entitled to, like, their hobby being able to be their career. Like, it was always weird to me, like, when the whole pay the pros thing happened many years back, that, like, honestly, the pay the pros thing was probably the catalyst for the MPL in and of itself. It was always so strange to me that, like, this game that I like to play should be able to be a career option was, like, this position so many people had. Yeah, I mean that's definitely true. The MPL, it's like their division got laid off, even though business is good. Yeah, like right, like it's hard to stomach that the company's doing well, but your part of the game isn't really helping the company. Is basically the thing. A lot of people that are super involved in Magic organized play have this idea that it's like a lot more popular and brings in a lot more than it actually does. I think the stomaching the fact that like, oh, this thing that I like and that I'm really good at and I spend a lot of time on, just like it doesn't actually, that aspect doesn't actually make them money, and it shouldn't really be prioritized. How much removal do I want to keep in my deck post board here? Skyclave Apparitioning, 4-mana thing seems kind of sketch. Vanishing Verse doesn't really seem particularly good. A couple of Heartless Act seems fine. Kills Nicol Bolas and kills Valky. Probably trim down to 1 Skyclave Apparition. Do I want Duress? They have a lot of non-creature spells. Let's cut the last one of those and bring in a Duress. Have a good one, Weebos. Yeah, thanks for the submission. Grixis was really good again today. Nah, it was definitely, pay the pros was definitely about not paying them, quote, living wage or whatever for playing a card game. Brad Nelson had a good point where it's not really about the money, but it's more about the ability. Nah, Pay the Pros is definitely about the money, Bob. Like, and like, there might be some people that it's not about the money for, and like, I'm not going to, you know, say everybody or lump them all in the same thing, but like, I don't know. Yeah, I agree. I mostly didn't comment on Pay the Pros when it happened because my opinion was mostly that it was silly. Yeah, this is a hobby. Yeah, luxury hobby at that. I mean, like, it's very obviously a luxury hobby, right? Like, there's a reason why so many of, like, the top Magic pros were people like, you know, like John Finkel is a hedge fund manager, right? And, like, there's a ton of lawyers and stuff like that and people who, like, have money from other sources because, like, Magic's not cheap and traveling to play Magic's not cheap and it never has been. I mean, Kibler like bounced out of Magic altogether for a little while, right? He didn't want to try and like he bounced over to Hearthstone and took off there, which is obviously smart when that was exploding. But like he even like Kibler was in the Magic Hall of Fame and stuff, but he really didn't hit notoriety and like doing stuff as a job until like he bounced out of Magic. And then, like, when we came back around to doing esports, Wizards very smartly, like, hired him back in because he's a big name from other places. But, like, Kibler's... it was always really funny to me when you'd see, like, Hearthstone players were like, oh, he plays Magic? Like, it's like, someone who grew up around Magic, knew Kibler from that. Even though he really hit his notoriety from not Magic things. We seem to be incapable of getting a decent final match, chat. Alright. This is the last one. So that's 20 months, Larkdos. Hopefully you saw the Deadguy Ale comment in chat. So... actually had a post on Twitter about that this morning, APOQ, and I actually think the idea that Hearthstone is easier to watch than Magic is largely bullshit. Card games in general, just aren't good esports material. Like, yeah, Hearthstone took off and Hearthstone was more popular on Twitch, but Hearthstone taking off and being more popular on Twitch was largely related to the fact that Hearthstone had a mobile client, and having a mobile client early meant you just had more players that understood your game. Like, as someone who's like made an effort, go watch Hearthstone if you've never played it. Go watch Runeterra. Like, all of these games that have like really slick digital clients, they're fucking impossible to follow if you don't know how the card game works. Hearthstone's early success in blowing up bigger than Magic was related to the fact that they created an influx of players through having a mobile client, way more so than this game was an esport and it's easy to watch compared to Magic. It's not. Like, you need to know what cards do in order to be able to watch a card game and parse it. Alright, so what are we naming here? Do I name a counter spell, or do I name a removal spell? We could name both and drown in the muck. Yeah, I feel like it's like Lapse. It's just like name one of their 4-ofs, right? I named Fatal Push. My graveyard's currently empty, so I think naming Drown is wrong. It could be right to name Lapse, because naming Lapse means I'm more likely to resolve a spell this turn. Sure, like, you're not obligated to, like an interface, and Moto definitely isn't pretty, but I think the idea that a good-looking interface means that... The idea that a good-looking interface means it's easy to parse your game is just not true. You still need to understand the game. Alright, so we got this on Fatal Push, and this on Drown in the Lock. Just slowly naming their cards that cut them off of playing to the board without giving us a little bit of advantage here. Can confirm it took me almost a week to watch your stream when you bounced over to Runeterra to understand what was really going on, and you were making a huge effort to explain things constantly. Yes! Yeah, I do a better job explaining board states and narrating what's going on than most, and it's still very difficult for people to pick up. Okay, so... We Skyclave the Thieves Guild Enforcer and smack them for 6, right? Seem like a plan? Just keep getting rid of their things that play to the board. And I mean, content creators can facilitate people learning games that they otherwise wouldn't learn, right? That's why it's valuable when, like, a creator streams your game. They create value in your thing for your thing by streaming your game. Sleeve's not a terrible draw. It's a card I can play alongside Gideon here. I think I'd rather Gideon resolve. Nah, I'd rather Glint-Sleeve resolve since they have so many flyers. And, like, if their counter is Drown in the Lock, they have to decide, like, if they want to Drown here, do they want to give me a card and lose 3 life? Nice. Okay, so... Now, I think we just attack with both of these and then play Glint-Sleeve, right? Getting close here. Their Luris might drag them kicking and screaming across the finish line. That's a great draw. Okay, so let's start by attacking with this and see where we go. Although this is wrong, because if they have another Soaring Thought Thief, they could flash it and eat my thing. Okay, and now we're gonna lead Thalia over Spellbinder, because Thalia forces them to counterspell, otherwise they can't, which means our Spellbinder is guaranteed to resolve here. If they didn't drown her, they wouldn't be able to drown anything. Now I get to make that cost 5. So if they draw untapped lands here, they can replay Robber still. I get to draw an extra card here. Huh? So if I fire this up and attack with everything, they block this here, they take 5, go to 1. If I fire this up and attack with everything and they want to eat this, they take 6 and they die, so they can't just eat this with this. I think I want to try and force a block on Duress. Well, if they're life linking chat, their Duress dies. So that's still good for me. So I'm counting permutations in combat here that work out if Duress isn't blocking, because if Duress is blocking, that's good for us. This is a deck that had a great Rogues matchup earlier. No, the Grixis deck has a really good Rogue matchup. Yeah, now we have Thalia with First Strike, so they don't have a free attack on the backswing either without having a removal spell here. This deck doesn't have a terrible Rogues matchup, but it's not nearly as good as Grixis. Crippling Fear would be bad, right? Yeah, this is game 1, though. Also, even if it wasn't game 1, I don't think we could afford to play around that card, so, you know, ship it. They're just dead. That's not true, right? They're forced to block with Duress, but they're only going to 1 because of lifelink. Hey, Melanic, thanks for the Prime. I appreciate the 19 months. Welcome back. Yeah, chat. They go block, block, block. They gain 3. They go to 4. They take 3. They go to 1. Honestly, Wax Papers, I think, and hopefully Wizards can correct this when they redo their system. But I honestly think one of the biggest failings of Magic from an organized competitive play standpoint is, obviously, I don't expect them to work with me because they don't like me, but they should be giving Newmont, Caleb, Crokies, all the big streamers that they work with on occasion, some amount of advertising money per month to promote their competitive play. Like, the fact that there are people who watch people stream Magic all the time on Twitch that don't manage to follow competitive Magic, like those, they're failing to reach their audience that's most engaged with their game. There is a chance they mess this up and die. Is our opponent disconnected again? Is there, like, this is like our 3rd opponent in a row to like have disconnect issues. Are the servers having issues or something today? How much do I have to pay you to try and make Boros God Pharaoh's gift work after Trash for Treasure comes out? Deck submissions are $50. Or 5k bits. Thanks for the tips, Lyrics. I'm excited to start Ghost on Monday. Yeah, to be fair, they might not be disconnected. These blocks are not straightforward. Well, these blocks either mean we're about to win the game or my opponent has a removal spell, which is not good for us. I just click OK though, right? Because they're taking 4 and dying. That's unfortunate. We did at least... So we lost the Thalia, but we forced the Lurrits off the board, which has upside, and we got a second energy towards Glint-Sleeve, which is valuable. So we're definitely ahead at the moment, but a good top deck from the opponent here could pull them back in. I think they have to draw a card here. They need to Drown in the Lock or a Fatal Push to kill this Glint-Sleeve. Now they could find a removal spell and be in it still. They did not. Okay, so we got 3 old copies of Rest in Peace here. This is not a matchup where Gideon or Ajani are particularly good. They're a little bit too much expensive. Still Albania. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this afternoon. Fatal Pushes and Heartless Acts are great. Vanishing Verse is probably not good enough here. Do I want discard spells post-board in this matchup? I don't know that I do. They have the... So normally, I cut my discard spells right away in these discard mirror matches, but the opponent's archetype has Duress as well as counter spells in it, which changed the dynamic a little bit. So I actually think if we leave discard spells in, we want to leave the Thoughtseizes in, because being able to tag into the story on occasion is very, very good. So if I want discard spells, that's a little bit of an if. I'm pretty sure Thoughtseize are the ones that I want. What if we do this? I'm going down to 20 creatures. It's a little bit low. Yeah, it was a really good game of Magic. A lot of good back and forth and decisions on both sides there. And that's why I love this Deadguy Ale deck. Like, this deck has such a low curve. There's so many sequencing decisions that you make game to game that it generates a lot of what I consider good games of Magic. I think it's better in the meta now that they've settled a bit more. They're just kind of different, Benes. This deck's lower to the ground, and the red deck, like, this is an aggressively slanted mid-range deck, and the red-white deck is a more controlling slanted mid-range deck. I don't think it's really strictly better, strictly worse. Hey, chat. Timing people out who suggest Collected Company in my 20-creature deck is my kink. Oh, the circle jerk command. Oh, that person's probably never going to realize the gift that they gave us, but golly, were they a giver. Alright, I'm gonna shock this in, because if my opponent has a Flash Dork plus a removal spell, I could be sad. You should splash blue in this deck so you have Spell Pierce for the girl matchup. That's funny. Nah, I don't really drink alcohol in general. If I drink alcohol, it has to be able to disguise itself as candy. But the only alcohol I really drink is stuff like Mike's Hard Lemonade. draw. Really want them to fatal push my Blinkmoth Nexus. I'm gonna go ahead and pass here. Hey, what's going on, Cheeks? We've been back to Magic for a hot second. It makes me wonder how long I'm gonna be recollecting people that unfollowed while I was gone. We've been back doing Magic daily for content for gosh, 3 months now, almost 2.5 months. Oh, it's the end of January, right? So February, March, April, 3.5 months. I think this is a spell. I guess these are probably. I guess this is probably gonna die at some point. Is this a spell, chat? This is like a tough question. Is this Triome a spell? Like, I want to activate Castle this turn. I actually don't know. I think it might be a spell. Hey, good to have you, Dem Cheeks. Welcome back. Well, I don't have to discard it right away. Okay, so I'm gonna fatal push this, which then means they'll fatal push this, but then I get to Spellbinder the end of the story. The problem here is I don't currently have an answer to this Luris. Maybe I need more Luris answers in my 75. That's very possible. This card just shouldn't be legal is the answer. I guess I have Rest in Peace is technically an answer. I guess cycling the land proactively punishes me if they play like Thoughtseize or Inquisition here. Well, we're still in the game. This game's really close considering we never drew Rest in Peace. Ever having a cantrip that saves the creature, is it not worth the slot? What? I don't know what card you're referring to, Conscript. A cantrip that saves a creature? What card are you talking about? That's not a cantrip. A cantrip is a card that draws a card. And in general, cards like that tend to not be particularly good. You'd rather just, like, play another threat. Effects like that tend to only be good in settings where, you have a very specific narrow amount of creatures you have access to. The origin on the word cantrip. A cantrip is a level 0 spell in Dungeons and Dragons that you get to cast an unlimited number of times for free per day. Believe they have memory lapse in hand. Yeah. Spell that doesn't consume a resource. Yeah, there you go. It's a good way to highlight it. Yep, we'll get to name Drown with this, which is on top of their deck. We saw it earlier from the Thoughtseize. They then brainstormed. And they have it shuffled. Yeah, no joke. I think this just names it again, right? This gameplay is just so night and day different. If we could have found one of our copies of Rest in Peace. Eric just doesn't do anything if you have Rest in Peace. Squadron story is accurate, yeah. It's just a different deck, Clador. You're basically, you just might as well just play green-white company at that point, because you can't fit discard spells in, and discard spells are kind of the headlining thing that, like, classifies what this archetype as it is. Game 3 on the plate. We'll draw one of our sideboard cards. I think I'm happy with how I boarded. Vanishing Verse feels incredibly awkward. I'm gonna put another discard spell in my deck over Vanishing Verse. I feel like I want like one more way to tag Luris in my removal. Maybe the third verse needs to be something else that can kill the cat. I wonder if I'm supposed to board in like a Noxious Grasp for this matchup. Just because they do always have Luris. Does Blue Black have enchantment interaction in this format? Yeah. They don't usually play it though. They have like Farika's Libation, it's called, as well as the destroy a thing, you lose life equal to its toughness. So they're not playable, but they exist. It's I almost wish they didn't have it because like they basically solely exist so people can actually and like tell you that like, well, these technically exist even though you don't want to play them. As a content creator, I feel like they exist to troll me. Yeah, I think once HA5 happens, I'd probably play 2 copies of Rest in Peace and 2 copies of Relic. Relic of Progenitus will be an easy format staple. The card's very good. Was not prepared for that to resolve. That one. Oh, Glint-Sleeve Siphoner's a rogue, chat. She's a rogue. What a wonderful little rogue she is. Nah, Shirley doesn't play into any of their synergies. You fatal pushing someone? I'm like casting this. I gotta imagine if they're pushing Siphoner because she's a rogue, right? I mean, Dragonstorm decks will be playing on stream. Yes. Yeah, the new historic anthology is a real banger, chat. It's real good. Like real good. Easily the best historic anthology we've had. The latest spoilers are not out yet. They're technically going to be 3 more cards. I'm gonna hold on to this because they play discard spells, so we could like get a Thoughtseize out of them by holding a thing here. Goodbye, friends. Man, where are my utility lands at? Guess we had a Blinkmoth. A White Castle, chat. This is the danger of playing these cards. Well, they keep milling cards we don't want to draw anyways, so that's nice. I'm gonna cast one of these because they're 1 mana away from hard casting into the story. Game. Yeah, we're ahead until they draw a draw 4. It does not sorter. Honestly, the reserve list probably doesn't even apply to paper. A lot of it's just nonsense. Okay, I mean... Sure. A rogue, chat. Did I forget to attack last turn? I forgot to attack last turn. And then now I get got. Is a crippling fear. These are the same creature type, so they can't kill this with crippling fear without killing their own things. They could kill Skyclave Apparition though. They could have killed the entire board there and left just themselves with a 2/2. Did your fucking removal spell? God damn it. Brutal. Man, where's a white castle when you need one? Yeah, definitely naming the draw 4. Yeah, they have their black castle and we just don't. Well, one of them's milled. Well, we tried. Yeah, Black Castle isn't very good, because you end up in spots, compared to White Castle, because you end up in spots like this where your life total is really low. And White Castle's much better in spots like this. How do I feel about the discard spells after watching this game play out? I feel like if I hadn't had discard spells in my deck this game, I'd probably win it. I feel like I should probably stick to my discard spells come out in these types of games. Like here, right? Like we drew like 2 Thoughtseizes and 2 Inquisitions. If they would have if like all of my discard spells would have been cards that played to the board in this game, we definitely would have won, right? So I think seeing how that game play out, especially even with the rest in peace in play, that tells me that I should stick to my gut instinct. That's what well, so it's like, it's not strictly, and I talked about this when I sideboarded the card, but like there's more nuance to it than that, right? Because like they have cards that draw 4 cards and they have counter spells too. So like when I traditionally say a discard mirror match, I'm talking about 2 mid-range style decks like this that don't ever have cards that hold up in their hand. So the dynamic of the opponent's archetype having counter spells changes that a little bit, I think. I don't know. That was just one game. It could be right that we're supposed to leave some amount of them in there, but I'm leaning towards maybe I should consider that like I consider the other ones. It's definitely not just cut and dry though as, oh, you do this, like you treat this the same way you treat playing against red-black Arcanists. They're just fundamentally different. Ajani was really good. I'm definitely going to put Ajani in the list on my site. Gideon was like fine. I don't know that Gideon is good enough in general that I want copies in my main deck. Like, I feel like I'm inclined to want to just, like, drag my curve down a little bit. Maybe we put the Gideons in the sideboard. Maybe we leave Reidanes in the main deck. I could see that being the case too. She's pretty good in a variety of spots in general, just like her stat line and her vigilance. Even her backside is reasonable too. I don't like, what's your comment about Ephemerate? I saw this comment. If I didn't respond to your comment about Ephemerate, that means I didn't see it. Hey, buddy, I love you. Daddy's working, okay? You need to not yell when you come in. I think you're trying to fit Ephemerate. No, I think Ephemerate is really, really bad. So, like, cards like Ephemerate are cards that are only good when you're already ahead. If you have, and like, not to mention, I only have 22 creatures. So you don't want to fill a deck like this with a bunch of individually weak cards that are good when you're already ahead by having your cards in play that are already good. Yeah, testing out Cling to Dust is something that could probably be worth doing. Rest in Peace is a nice Hoser style card in the ultimate sense, but Cling generates a little bit more value as the game goes along. And Cling's definitely really good against rogues, and it's good in other spots. I guess what are other graveyard matchups in this format that we really care about? Like, Cling's fine against Phoenix, and we have Thalia against Phoenix as well. So I don't know that matchup's terrible. We have Vanishing Verse that's good there. What are the other graveyard decks? I think Cling is better. Cling is better against Jeskai Control. I don't like bringing in Rest in Peace against Gear Hulk decks. Sacrifice. That's true. Rest in Peace is better against Sacrifice for sure. Does Cling exile in response to Luris? No, that's not how that works. Once you cast something with Luris, it's already on the stack. Rest in Peace is much better against the Arcanist deck. And the problem is, I don't know that I would necessarily want to coward split Rest in Peace and Cling to Dust, because, like, Rest in Peace makes Cling to Dust super awkward. Although I guess you could just cantrip the Cling early, and then if you exile it, it's, like, not a big deal. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Relic's gonna be a consideration really soon here too. So yeah, I'll think about what I want to do with this list later tonight when I do updates to decks on the website. Ajani's definitely going in the main. I don't know that I necessarily need a third in the board. I think I want like 2 Gideons in the 75 for the Pact matchup, just because like having a piece of permanent based hate against that matchup seems like it's really good. Yeah, I like this deck being lower to the ground, so I think like doing this and then having our curve be a little bit tighter down could be good. I could also, like I said, maybe these are Reidanes in the main deck. That's a card I've been pretty happy with in general too. So at any rate, that's gonna wrap up for me for Magic for today. If you didn't hear me review spoiler stuff, that'll have its own video on my YouTube channel this evening. There's already videos up there of all the other Historic Anthology 5 spoiler stuff that's happened all week. The anthology releases officially on Thursday, May 27th. On Sunday, May 30th, the Hoaglandia Open Series will be returning with Historic Action. So if you want to watch those cards be played in one of the first tournaments with coverage, or you want to play in it, make sure you mark that on your calendar. Not quite open for signups yet with that, but should hopefully be ready to put that up either early next week or over the weekend. For the rest of today,